You know what time it is, Patty?
I do.
It's time for another
Midweek
Update. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another one of these midweek updates. America's most boring YouTube video. No,
There you go.
some people enjoy them. So. And we appreciate those of you that do watch these. So, although I think right now this is the way everybody's getting their information on our trip. So, either here
probably.
or Instagram.
Yeah.
So, when we last left you, we were in St. Augustine.
Right.
And I think I was spending... What day did we leave St. Augustine? Saturday. So, when we recorded Thursday morning, we basically spent all day Thursday working. I had videos to get done and edited, and I think that's what I remember.
Laundry and...
Yeah. And so Friday, we finally got to go out and do a little exploring.
Right.
And we went into St. Augustine and walked around. Patty purchased a new pair of shoes.
I did.
So I gave Patty the option, and I don't know if I told this story last week. I don't think I did, because I didn't know it happened yet. But we were going to take the little trolley tour, which was, do you remember how much that was?
$30 a person.
$30 a person. And I said to Patty, she had been wanting a new pair of shoes, or needing a new pair of shoes, I should say, because her Keen sandals, you had actually bought those in Yellowstone the first time we ever went.
The Grand Tetons.
Or Grand Tetons, yeah. And that was back in, well, that was 4 years ago. It was the year we started the channel when we had the Hummingbird.
Right.
So I said to Patty, I said, what if we skip the trolley tour, save the $60, you go buy yourself some new shoes, and we'll just walk around historic St. Augustine.
Yeah. So we did.
And we did. Yeah. And she found your shoes.
I did.
Not the ones you initially thought you were going to buy.
No, I thought I was going to go with a different brand, but then when I tried them on, they weren't as comfortable as I was hoping.
Right.
So my Keens went with Faithful Keen.
Hard, I was going to say, it's hard to go against Keen when it comes to a good shoe. So... Yeah. And then we ended up having lunch at one of our favorite restaurants in Florida, Columbia Restaurant.
So good.
So we normally dine at the Celebration location, and we have dined at their Sarasota location, but we had never dined at their St. Augustine, obviously, because we had never been there. And thank goodness we got there right as they opened.
They were busy.
They were busy. They were telling people when we left, I heard them telling people an hour and a half to 2 hour wait for lunch.
Just lunch, yeah.
And our server was saying part of the issue is, and this is a really...
Just short staff.
Yeah, this is a really good restaurant, and they're having troubles getting help. So...
Yeah, they just don't want to, just like any restaurant, you don't want to overload and then you don't get any service, so you got to wait for your table. Even the bar area was loaded when we left.
But you know how that is. People see empty tables and they're like, I don't understand why you can't get a table. And it's mainly because they either don't have enough kitchen staff or service staff. Because if they seat people, then instantly you expect to be served. And if you just don't, so you're better off to leave tables empty if you can't handle it. But as always, the food was absolutely amazing.
I just love their 1905 salad, they call it, and sangria was great. The Spanish pea soup I had, bean soup was good, and
Truman's a little wired.
And then you had a Cuban, and you shared a little bit. That's always good. So it's just a great place to go. I love the atmosphere. I love the food. Yeah, it's great.
And I will say the campground was good. North Beach Camp Resort. That's a nice. Again, they're very tight, but because of all the greenery, you feel like you have privacy.
Right.
But the beach right across the street, that is a nice beach.
And these two love the beach. So.
They got to go in and play. We let them go in and play again, and then we had to give them baths because they were just full of sand and salt.
The amount of sand on Truman was just crazy. And we weren't thinking. We had their harnesses on because, we don't want them getting away from us in the ocean. And those were full of sand.
Yeah. So
should have went with collars. So
yeah, we learned.
But those things needed washed anyway. So yeah.
So then Saturday we headed north, and we ended up spending the Saturday night at Whippoorwill Farms in South Carolina, Harvest Host, and absolutely amazing. It's a regenerative farm, which means they don't use chemicals of any sort. And they took a overgrown forest and they're slowly clearing the forest of all the invasive trees and then replanting the proper trees, but they're doing it all through the use of animals. So like the pigs go in, they kind of rut it up, and then the goats go in, and then ultimately the chickens, they get it back into soil, and then it allows the natural plants to the area to come in. And so you can buy, I bought sausage, I bought bacon, what else did I buy? Brats, and then they also have a beautiful garden. So we had tomatoes and cucumbers and summer squash, maybe not cucumber, summer squash. So.
Yeah.
Truman's just going nuts.
The birds that fly by.
Yep.
That's what he's watching.
So anyway, that is a harvest host. Now it is a farm. It's a working farm. Marissa, the owner, gives an amazing tour where you really learn about the farm. But if you're going there thinking it's going to be an RV resort, it's not. Now she does have sites where you can pay for water and electric, which we did. But it's not like a RV fancy resort. It's a farm. So if you like farms like I do, it was awesome. And then we headed Sunday, I think that's right.
Yeah, south of the border, right?
South of the border. We stopped at Camp Pedro. So any of you who've ever traveled I-95, you know south of the border, it's like this big tourist trap on I-95 right after you cross into South Carolina from North Carolina, and it has this whole theming going. It kind of reminds me of what Route 66 might have been like in its heyday. And they actually have a campground, and the campground is very nice. We ended up getting a pull-through, full hookup with Good Sam discount with the tax for like $44, and the sites are actually very nice. The campground's clean, well laid out, easy to get into. So if you have a big rig, and they just put in a bunch of new big rig friendly 50 amp sites.
It's very secure. It's fenced in.
Yeah, it's gated. Now one of the reasons we did go there was we wanted to do laundry. The laundry room is a little iffy. I mean, it worked, but the thing is, if they were busy,
you wouldn't be able to do anything.
No, there was only 2 washers and 2 dryers. Now it was cheap. It was $1.50 to wash and $0.25 for 7 minutes of dry time. And luckily nobody was doing laundry when I went up. So, but that would be something if they were really busy. You might, if you were thinking you were going to do laundry, that could be an issue. So,
right.
And then from there we headed over to the Outer Banks.
That's right.
So, you want to tell them where we camped? Do you remember?
The National Seashore, Cape Hatteras National Seashore is where we camped. The Dooney Sand Campground.
Oregon Inlet.
Yep.
Yep. And
man, was it windy.
It was very windy, this is our second time going to the Outer Banks, and it seems like both times we were there. So I don't know if that's typical, that it's normally that windy. It may be. Maybe that's why the Wright brothers went there to try to get their plane off the ground. But so Oregon Inlet, which is part of the national park system, they have they have 3 sites. There's 3 loops in that campground. There's a tent-only loop. There's a RV with no hookups, and then there's an area with electrical hookups. Now, when I booked, there was no electric sites available, so we just had a non-hookup site, and it worked fine for what we wanted. But they do have the option of electric sites. Now, one of the things we noticed as we were walking around the first night was there were electric sites that said open, which tells me, again, people were booking a bunch of sites early on and then canceled. And there were sites that said reserved that nobody was on, where people just didn't show up. So I guess my thing would be is if you have booked sites and you're not planning to use them, please do at least cancel them so people have. Now, we could have probably went and asked about upgrading to an electric site, but we were only there for 2 nights and decided, because it was so windy, the breeze was just blowing through the trailer.
Yeah, it was crazy. If you think about it, the first half of the day, I guess, it was hot, humid, terrible wind, just windy as all, which helped with that. But then when the rain came through, because the cold front was coming in from the north and it was clashing with the leftovers of the tropical storm, then it cooled off and it was like fall.
Yeah. And that's the way it is now. So to bring you full circle to where we're at currently, we are in the Delmarva Peninsula. Technically we're in Maryland, but if we drive probably less than a mile, we would technically be in Delaware. We're down near Ocean City at my cousin's house, so we're mooch docking here for 4 nights, and we're doing a little family get-together. My aunt and uncle from Texas are flying in tonight, and so this will be a weekend of eating and drinking. And when I say drinking, I don't mean like get drunk. I mean, you know how we are. We like our glass of wine and maybe a margarita here and there. So, but it literally. So I was saying this morning, I was recording a little clip to use in travel videos. I was saying it's like a tale of two trips, because we went from Texas there at the beach where we didn't even unzip the beddies. We just laid on top of the bed, and you just hope the wind kept up all night long to keep you cool. Last night we were practically fighting over the covers because it was that cool out.
Cooled off. Yeah,
it felt like fall camping.
Yeah,
and I'm not complaining.
No,
because I love fall camping.
Yes, it's very much enjoyed.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not going to complain, because literally next week at this time we may be back to sweating our tails off. So you just never know. It's summer. And but I think we look through the weekend here, it's going to stay upper 70s, maybe lower 80s by Saturday. Right. But otherwise, it's nice.
It's going to be nice and not humid, and it's just beautiful. Yeah. So it's perfect. Perfect weather.
Yep. So things are going well. We had no issues since last week that I'm aware of. We took care of the tire issue last week. I can tell you I did a little calculating just to depress myself. Fuel-wise, we have spent right around $1,000 through 4 weeks on fuel. So when we get to the end of the trip, I will actually go through things that I'm collecting data on are just the total cost of fuel. I'm not getting into like gas. I sometimes I overanalyze things, and I just decided I wasn't going to look at gas mileage and all that. I can tell you, based upon what the truck's reading, we're averaging about 10.5 miles a gallon, which I'm okay with. But I'm also collecting how much we're going to have spent on our campsites, and also how much we have spent when we stay at Harvest Host, because I think a lot of people always want to know, like, Harvest Host, again, isn't free per se. So how much does it end up costing? I think the thing you have to remember about the Harvest Host, though, is if you spend, like I spent $50 to buy some meat at the Whippoorwill Farms, but I left with meat. And if I'd spent $50, like when we stayed at Camp Pedro for $44, I left with nothing.
Right.
So it just depends on whether you are into boondocking and things like that. Although I have to be honest. We didn't boondock at Whippoorwill Farms. We did pay $35 for electric and water site because it was hot and steamy out there in South Carolina.
Very hot and steamy.
So
yeah.
So anyway, so we're gonna get around today and just hang out here. Gonna help with some yard work, just because actually I don't know why yard work actually sounds fun right now. And Jackie has a bigger John Deere than I have, so I can't wait to crawl on that thing and try it out, which means I might need a bigger John Deere Patty if it's nice. I'm just saying. You got shoes, I should get a John Deere. It
looks like yours.
It does, but it's an X320 and mine's a D130, and I don't know the difference between a D and an X, but I know 320 is bigger than 130. So
okay, and it looks the same to me.
It's definitely bigger. It's definitely bigger. So anyway, all right. Hope you guys are having a great week, and I guess I could have pulled my shirt down. It says "Go outside." The graphics are amazing. So that's I like the shirt. Chef Amanda got this for me like a year ago, and I love it. So
okay.
All
right.
Anything else, baby?
No, I think you covered it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. And until next week, we'll see you.
I'm down the road.
Bye. Truman, you want to say goodbye?
He's too busy
watching birds.